guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Over the Top updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Montega Jordan. I don't know why I just said that like Oprah, but it was fun, right? So thank you so much for your support, Montega. And Montega wants to know, what are my first impressions so far of Big Brother Over the Top? Where'd you go? We just got started. I'm actually really enjoying it so far. I think it's refreshing that it's so different than the regular summer season of Big Brother, because it would be kind of like exhausting to have another regular season again. But I think this is cool with the laid back competitions and just like the different vibe. I'm enjoying it so far. Ask me again in a few weeks and we'll see. Again, I don't know how I feel about all the influence from America, but we'll see. I'm enjoying it so far. And also, what would my over-the-top adjective be if I was on this season? That's a great question. I think maybe I would also be over-the-top superfan like Scott, or maybe over-the-top squeaky like Lucy, or just maybe over-the-top insane / goofy. I think that fits me. But let me know in the comments what you guys would be if you were on this season. And thanks again, Montega. Alright, so last time we spoke, Shelby had the BB bug in the HOH competition. So she gave it to Scott when the alarm went off. We'll come back to that. Meanwhile, we've got Shane and Danielle chatting on the hammock outside. And, you know, there's a little bit of game chat here. They're just trying to figure out, like, who's kind of starting to work together. Are there alliances yet? So Shane asks Danielle, like, you know, I've seen you hanging out with Justin a lot. Like, what's going on there? Is there some sort of showmance? And she says no. She was up late chatting with Jason and Justin, but it wasn't a game thing. It was just, like, personal chat. And then she admits, like, I'm kind of afraid of all these Southern people working together. You should be afraid, girl, because they are starting to clump together. And everybody from the North and the East and the West, they're all kind of like on the outs, it seems like. But anyway, Whitney and Alex had a strategy chat, and these two are definitely very close so far. I don't know if they like made an official deal yet. I haven't seen it, but they are working very closely together. And they've been noticing that Jason, Neely, and Chrissy were hanging out outside together for a long time yesterday, and they're like, yeah, those three are all big personalities. They're unpredictable. Like, we got to do something about them. They also saw that Danielle and Justin are like clumping up with Jason, so all these big personalities are kind of grouping together, and they feel threatened by that, and they want to break it down. So then Monty joins them. Ugh, I'm sorry, I don't like Monty so far. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. But these three are all saying they want Jason out because America likes him. He already has a fan base. That's not good for them. I see where they're coming from. But, as a Jason fan, it's very frustrating to watch. So then the girls are telling Monty, we're not so sure about Shane. Like, I know, you know, he seems like he's kind of your boy, but we don't know how he feels about us. You know, he's close with a lot of people, and Monty's like, oh no, Shane's cool. He's cool. So they're like, alright, if you say so. Alright, so then, blah, 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 BB bug. Scott decides to give it to Neely, and then Neely asks kind of aggressively, everybody, like, does anybody want it? Like, who wants it? Tell me, or I'm just gonna pick somebody randomly. You better tell me. So Neely eventually ends up giving it to Chrissy, and then Chrissy gives it to Morgan. And Morgan was the bug holder for the rest of the night. There was no more of that until this morning. Alright, so then there was a lounge room strategy session with Alex, Monty, and Shane, or Monty, and Shane. And Alex lets them know, like, you know, I'm not so sure how I feel about Cornbread yet. Every time I start to talk game, he leaves the room. Like, what's the deal? And we know that Cornbread is working very closely with Monty and Shane and Scott. But the girls don't realize that Scott is working with those guys. They don't really know that Cornbread is either, but Scott is not on their radar. So she's like, yeah, I don't know about Cornbread. And the guy's like, oh no, he's good. He's cool. He's fun. Alright, so then Monty is trying to deflect. He's bringing up again that Jason's a threat and he should go. And Alex is kind of nervous because she's like, if we get rid of Jason, is America gonna hate us? Yeah. But Monty's like, I'm not scared. Maybe America will respect it because it's a big move. We'll see. So then they all agree that they're good with each other. Alex is like, I like this group. I feel like I can probably rope in Whitney and Morgan too. That'll be a nice, addition to the group. And then Whitney joins them, and Monty says, like, guys, I kind of want this HOH. So, like, if you're in a situation where you've got the bug, maybe, like, don't give it to me. If I win the HOH, I'm going to target Jason. He also talked about putting up either Chrissy or Neely as pawns. There's also a lot of talk about Justin being a crazy fool. For show. Alright, but Jason is not an idiot. He knows that he is possibly in trouble this week. He's an easy target, being the only vet in the house. So he was talking in the backyard with Shelby, Chrissy, Justin, and Scott. And he's like, yo, I'm worried that I'm going to be out first. And he feels like he's not vibing with a lot of the Southern people. They don't understand his humor, calling everybody hookahs and stuff. It's just like a cultural gap, I guess. And, yeah, he feels like he doesn't have a good rapport with some of the other people that could still be HOH this week. Like Monty, Cornbread, and some of those Southern belles. So they assure him, like, you're gonna be fine. Everybody loves you. He's in trouble. So then Justin starts sharing with the group how he's got this huge crush on Danielle. And he was saying all this as she was sharing a bed with Shane. Oh, no. Then Justin started sharing stories about his drug use in the past. I do not condone this at all, but some of these stories were freaking hilarious. Oh my god. He was talking about, like, going into these bars, and I don't know. It was crazy. But again, drugs are awful. Alright, so then this group ends up forming some sort of alliance. They call themselves the OTT Jamboree. So again, that is Jason, Shelby, Chrissy, Justin, and Scott. Now, we know that Scott is with the guys, that group of 4 guys. Is he gonna get all this information and take it back to the guys? It's risky. Alright, so this morning, we've got Alex, Morgan, and Whitney chatting in the storage room. They do not want Jason to win this HOH, and he has not received the bug yet. So they're telling Morgan, you should give the bug to Cornbread, and then he'll give it to Jason. Now, they're afraid to give it straight up to Jason because they don't want America to hate them, so they're like, let's let Cornbread do it. So when the alarm goes off, Morgan does end up giving it to Cornbread. I don't think the guys were too happy about that, but it is what it is. So then Jason and Monty were chatting. Jason is really trying to build some bridges here and try and start something up with Monty and his crew because there wasn't really much communication going on there yet. So Jason's telling Monty, like, if I get the bug, I won't give it to you. I'll give it to one of the girls. I trust you, and I'd be cool with you being the HOH. So then he's saying, if you get the bug, it'd be cool if you didn't give it to me either, because I would like to be HOH if you're not. So Monty wasn't, like, the most reassuring in this conversation. I don't think Jason had the best feeling after it, but this was kind of weird. Monty kept calling, like, everyone floaters. What? He's like, yeah, it's a house full of floaters. There's no power to float to yet. How could they be floaters? Whatever. So then the alarm goes off. Cornbread goes right to Jason, gives him the BB bug, which means that Jason cannot be the HOH. And Jason was like, oh, Cornbread freaking did that? He came straight to me? I'm not going to be, upset in the future if I have to go up and get rid of Cornbread. So, yeah. Then Jason was talking to Scott, and he's discussing his various options, who to give the bug to. And Jason's like, I can't give it to freaking Monty because I just told him that I'm cool with him being HOH, and I don't want to go back on that already. So he's like, maybe I should give it to Whitney. She's not likely to be upset about it because she said that, like, she doesn't want to make decisions and stuff, and Jason also doesn't like that Whitney is, like, ready to let the men run her game. And I have to agree. Like, I see Whitney strategizing a lot with the girls, which I think is great. But at the same time, I could see her giving a lot of power away to the men throughout the game. And that's kind of sucky. But anyway, he's hoping that by giving Whitney the next bug, Whitney will have to decide who the HOH is between Alex and Monty. So he's really banking on Whitney choosing Alex, and maybe Jason will be able to get her to help him out, keep him safe this week. We'll see. So Jason, when the time comes, gives Whitney the big brother bug. So then Whitney goes and talks to Monty in the lounge room, and she's like, I'm gonna give you the HOH this week. Ah! Alright, so they agree. They both want Jason out, but they're going to talk more about the nominations once that HOH room is open. Alright, so the last alarm of the competition sounds, bless you, and Whitney infects Alex with the bug, which means that Monty is the first HOH of the season. Alright, so then, about an hour later at 2 p.m., the house guests are called to the living room for an announcement from Julie. Whoops. Okay, so Julie comes on the screen and she's all like, congrats to the first HOH of Big Brother Over the Top, whoever you are. There was no name because this shit was pre-recorded. Come on, she's not coming in on the weekends. So then, she lets the house guests know this season there will be no nominations ceremonies. So there will still be nominees, but instead they're going to have 2 safety ceremonies throughout the week. For each ceremony, Big Brother is going to tell the HOH how many people they have to choose to be safe. So, you know, after the 2 ceremonies, the last 2 house guests that are not safe are the nominees. But they can still compete for the power of veto. And then as far as the replacement nominees go, that can be anyone who who didn't win the veto or the HOH. So if you were named safe already, you could still be the replacement nominee. So this is like really weird. I don't know how I feel about it so far, but it's really going to show like who that HOH is holding near and dear to their heart, right? It's kind of weird. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. So then after all that comes out, Alex and Whitney were chatting, and they're feeling really good about their little twosome that they've got, but they want to expand. So they feel good about bringing Morgan in, and they're also thinking about talking to Shelby because Morgan said that she trusts her. But they're still, they're talking about some of the other people in the house. They're still uneasy about Shane and Cornbread. They think that those guys are going around making deals with everyone. They're trying to play like Mr. Nice Guy, be cool with everybody. And they're liking Monty, especially now that he's HOH. But they're worried that he's going to be making a lot of deals this week because he's the HOH. So they're like, we need to be careful about what we say to him, but they do like him. So then Morgan, with instructions from her sister Alex, goes and talks to Shelby. They're bonding because they want to pull Shelby into this group. And the whole time, Morgan's really trying to steer her towards working with Alex and Whitney. And Shelby's like, I don't know, like, do you think they like me? She's saying that she wants to hang out with them more and see how it goes, but we'll see. Also, they talk about how they're worried about Danielle because she's so tight with the guys, and, they're not sure if she's really a girl's girl. They could see her coming after them. So then it was time for Monty to get his HOH room, and there was something different in there this time. There were these buttons on the wall, one for each house guest that went with their photos, and Monty kept saying like, oh yeah, don't touch the buttons. Big Brother said, don't touch the buttons. So it's going to come into play later this week. I guess it's when he's, naming who's safe, but we'll see exactly how it works. Tonight there was supposed to be live diary rooms because it's Friday night, but they're starting those next week. I have no idea when these freaking safety things are happening because the first week the schedule's always a little bit off, so we can't really go by the schedule that was released before the season started, but I'll keep you guys posted on it as it happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until tomorrow, much love.